Jerry Herman once wrote, "There's no tune like a show tune," and he was right. His ballads have softened our hearts, and his melodies have sent us dancing across our living rooms. Nominated for 5 Tony Awards and a winner for La Cage aux Folles and Hello, Dolly, Jerry Herman is Broadway. A native of New York City, he grew up seeing the great shows and the great stars. And one night, Ethel Merman in Annie, Get Your Gun. That show had the most profound effect on me, he wrote, starting with that larger-than-life lady who was belting out songs like home runs. At 17, he received the ultimate encouragement. Frank Loesser, creator of the classic Guys and Dolls, heard Jerry's work and declared that he had talent. On his advice, Jerry transferred from the prestigious Parsons School of Design to the theater department at the University of Miami. Sadly, Jerry's mother and closest friend wouldn't be there to witness her son's rise to success. Ruth Herman passed away in 1954. Jerry later wrote, "On the opening night of every one of my shows, I stand in the back and say, 'Why is Ruth not here?'" It was the theater itself that urged the young composer to rejoin the human race. Audiences proved Frank Loesser right when they discovered Jerry's work off-Broadway in shows like I Feel Wonderful, Nightcap, and Parade. From there, it was just a subway ride to the Great White Way. Molly Pecan and a score that included Shalom and the hymn to Jaime made Milk and Honey a solid Broadway hit. But Milk and Honey was just a hint of things to come. Playwright Thornton Wilder once wrote that Hello, Dolly was just what I had in mind when I first thought of Dolly Levi. With Wilder's The Matchmaker as its foundation, with Carol Channing in the lead, and with direction and choreography by Gower Champion, Hello, Dolly became an international phenomenon. Its success created a list of Dolly incarnations that included the American theater's leading ladies. Mary Martin, Ginger Rogers, Betty Grable, Eve Arden, Martha Ray, and Pearl Bailey all played Dolly. The record-breaking Broadway run closed with a woman who had inspired Jerry decades earlier, the great Ethel Merman. Jerry was back on Broadway just 2 years after Dolly opened, this time with a show called Mame. It was a role any actress would kill for. Happily, that wasn't necessary. Jerry once said that the only honest way to write is to write for character, and there never was a character as well suited to the musical theater as Mame Dennis Burnside. Audiences agreed. With 2 hits under his belt, Jerry surprised critics and the public with a quirky musical about an 80-year-old mad woman living in a sewer. So much for typecasting. With Mac and Mabel, Jerry delivered what he considers his best work for the theater. Full of heart and passion, it made a star of Bernadette Peters. With the Grand Tour, Jerry again offered Broadway a musical where the boy doesn't get the girl. But he made up for it in 1983 when the boy got the girl, the man got the man, and a conservative politician ended the night in drag. With La Cage aux Folles, musical theater had its first gay romance, and the gay rights movement was handed an anthem that brought audiences to their feet, whether it was sung by George Hearn or Gloria Gaynor. It was a time when the AIDS epidemic was devastating the theater community and the nation. When Jerry's own beloved partner, Marty Finkelstein, succumbed to the disease, Jerry founded a hospice in his name. Faced with his own HIV diagnosis, Jerry proved himself a survivor, exploring the latest experimental drugs and paving the way for others living with HIV. Now, more than 2 decades after it opened on Broadway, La Cage is back in a major revival. Over the years, Jerry's work has been heard on Broadway and across the nation in Jerry's Girls. He made his own Broadway debut on stage with pals Florence Lacey and Leroy Reams in An Evening with Jerry Herman. In his spare time, he's created star turns for some of the biggest names in Hollywood. And the Kennedy Center will ring in 2006 with a new production of Mame, starring Christine Baranski in my role. Jerry says of life today, it is overflowing with wonderful events and treasures and good health. He calls himself supremely happy and blessed with his wonderful partner, Terry Mahler. And he takes joy in knowing that his work will live on. Jerry Herman has created the score for An American Life. With his help, we open new windows. And every night, somewhere in the world, Dolly Gallagher Levi comes down the stairs of the Harmonia Gardens to a crowd of handsome men eager for her to rejoin the human race. What greater message can an artist offer?